Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. My 18-year-old daughter refuses to get a job because she's a single mom. After that, am I the jerk for letting my sister's kids live with me? And after that, entitled stepson expects me to pay for his college. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen has to get a job. I have one. It's called sitting here listening to you read all day. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. My 18-year-old daughter refuses to get a job because she's a single mom. I have two daughters, April, who's 18, and Jade, who's 15. I'm a single mom. April and Jade's dad and I got divorced around 13 years ago as he was having an affair. He's never been in the picture for either of our girls after that. When April was 16, she unexpectedly got pregnant. I took her to counseling to help her organize her thoughts and figure out what she wanted to do, and April decided she wanted to keep the baby. The pregnancy and birth went smoothly, and I now have a grandson, Ollie, who's 2. The father is involved, but he and April are no longer together. Ollie stays with his dad every weekend, and the dad's parents give April money to go towards Ollie's expenses. Earlier this year, April graduated high school. She's been taking care of Ollie during the week, but other than that, she hasn't been up to much. She keeps saying that she'll start looking for a job, but she hasn't even started writing a resume. Besides taking care of Ollie, she just sits at home watching TV. On multiple occasions, April has tried to leave Ollie with Jade so that she can go out partying, which has led to huge arguments. Last week, I talked to April, and I told her that she needs to get a job or go to our local community college, and that I'll foot the bill for any childcare she needs for it to happen. I told her she needs to get a job or go to college in order to stay here. April got upset and said that she doesn't want a job or to go to college. She said she just wants to be a mom. She told me it can wait until Ollie starts school. I told her no, and that she needs to start something so that she can support herself and be an independent adult. April said I'm being unreasonable and that these things can wait until Ollie is in school full-time. She said that I'm asking her to damage him and that he needs his mom. It's not that I don't want April and Ollie here. I love them both. I just think I'd be setting a bad precedent by allowing April to continue to stay with me with no job and no education in the making. You're the jerk. That's basically teen mom territory. You should be supporting her. That's an extremely hard situation to be in. If you're capable of supporting her, you should. As a toddler mom myself with no job or schooling, objectively, you're the jerk. I would hate to be told I either had to sacrifice my time with my still developing kid in the most crucial years of their life or move out. But I also have tried to look for jobs, and my mom told me to stop before I got pregnant. She has never pushed me to do anything like that. She's encouraged it, but never with ultimatums. Yes, you're the jerk 1,000,000,000%. Parents are meant to 1. Set the example for their kids, 2. Be there for their kids. She's barely a legal adult. Her brain won't fully develop until she's about 25, and you're telling her she needs to be a single mom with a job or go to college or she gets the boot? She needs community and support. She's become a teenage parent during the middle of a lockdown. She doesn't need your lack of parenting making her life worse. An entire you're the jerk and forget you for that. That's straight up abandonment. You're the jerk. You sound exactly like my mom, the woman who got my kid taken away. My mom hounded me every day about getting a job because she forgot how stressful it is being a young mom for the first time. Every time I tried to do something as simple as play a video game while my son was in his crib, my mom would flip out. She threw a fit every time I wanted to go out with friends or, God forbid, go on a date. My psychotic mother's treatment of me led to me majorly resenting my kid to the point where I would leave for days on end and just block her number. She decided that instead of showing me support and being a loving grandmother, reporting me would be a better option. The state decided I was unfit to be a parent. Gee, you think? I was 19. Maybe my mom could have been an actual, grandma? I feel so sorry for your daughter, and I hope she goes no contact with you, since you're nothing but an unsupportive jerk. Reddit, the internet's official worst place to seek parenting advice. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or their daughter? Please let us know. Please never seek parenting advice from Reddit. I can't think of any worse place. Am I the jerk for letting my sister's kids live with me? I, female 50s, have a sister who's in her 40s who sees herself as a "my family lives in a camper van" Instagram influencer. In 2020, she, her husband, and their 4 kids moved into a camper. They homeschool the kids, travel all over the US, etc. They come to visit for holidays, but we don't see them besides that. My husband and I are the opposite. We have 4 kids and live in a big, beautiful house in Colorado. So the issue. My sister and her family came over for Thanksgiving and spent the night. My sister's oldest, 13-year-old twins, a boy and a girl, slept in my daughter's and son's rooms. In the morning, my niece and my sister got into a big argument, with my niece being incredibly angry at her mother for making her live in a camper when she could have so much more space, not have to share so much with her brothers, they all sleep in the same area, and be able to have more clothes, friends, and extracurricular activities. I asked what was going on, and according to my sister, this has been an argument for a while. Money is not an issue. They had a huge house before and sold it for a massive amount of money. My sister has a trust fund and a job. She just likes living in a camper. After a brief conversation with my husband and my kids, we offered, in private to my sister, to take my eldest niece in. We have extra guest rooms and could make one a bedroom for her. There are great schools in our area. We'd pay for everything for her, etc. She instantly said no, that she knew what was best for her daughter. She would miss her siblings. We didn't mention it again. Well, my youngest, she's 13, told my cousin about the offer. She was very happy, but angry that her mother hadn't brought it up to her. She told my sister that if she made her come live in the camper again, she'd never do anything her mother wanted because it was unfair that her mother wasn't letting her have a true childhood. While I don't condone tantrums like that, I understand where she was coming from and helped convince my sister. When her twin brother found out, he wanted to stay too. My sister asked him what she was supposed to do without them. How is she going to care for the younger siblings without them? Talking about missing out on family trips, etc. But nephew didn't change his mind. We agreed to a trial period, 3 weeks, which ended 3 days ago. My sister came back, fully expecting her kids to want to come back with her, but they flat out refused to even go in the camper. My sister is very angry. She said that I was supposed to make them want to live with her and that I'm a horrible sister for treating her like this. She said I should kick them out, and I said no. She said that I'm a massive jerk and told her kids to not expect her to come back for them when they get tired of maximalism. Now her kids are sad, but they still don't want to leave, and I'm worried I've ruined my relationship with my sister. Am I the jerk? Edit. I've been told that the technical name of the vehicle I'm referencing is a motorhome. It's one of those large, I don't know, house on wheels things. I thought that they were called campers since that's what my sister always calls it. Edit 2. Someone in the comments mentioned I should add this here. We have temporary guardianship signed by my sister. Her husband came over after they left and we filled out the power of attorney forms, got the things we need to put them in school, etc., and he took them back and had her sign them, so we should be all clear. My brother is an attorney and he helped us with the forms as well. I can see why your sister may not like it, but I don't think the camper van life is suited to all. The idea of it would be horrifying to me, both as an adult and a teenager. And I suspect a lot of 13-year-olds would want to have friends and hobbies that aren't just online. You brought up the idea in private, which was a good way to approach it. It's a shame your daughter wasn't able to keep it private, but truthfully, I think she did the correct thing. Your sister asked them what she was supposed to do without them? This sounds like parentification, which is not a good thing for the twins. They should be living the life of teenagers, only helping to look after younger siblings if they're paid babysitters, and only for a few hours a week, if they want extra money. You're not the jerk. I thought that after the first paragraph, and the rest just confirmed it for me. Not the jerk. Your sister sounds selfish and like a lunatic. She wants to live this way, but her kids don't. They need a stable home, friends, family, and education. Living like nomads is not something most kids can do. End of the day, you are helping your niece and nephew out. You're not beholden to your sister or supposed to do anything but help the kids. Yeah, you strained your relationship with her, but that relationship is not worth the health of these kids. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her sister? Let us know in the comments below. Oh, how I hate moving. I can't even bear the thought of moving every week or so living in a camper. Entitled stepson expects me to pay for his college. I'm 49, female. My daughter, Katie, who's 17, is graduating high school this spring and was just accepted to her first college last week. I share Katie with her father, my ex-husband, Will, who's 52. But I've been married to my husband, Brian, who's 49, for about 6 years. Brian has a son, Nick, who's 16, who's a junior at the same school as Katie. Brian has full custody of Nick, while I share custody of Katie. Will and I divorced fairly amicably when Katie was young, and we've grown into strong co-parents. Will's family come from substantial money, so as part of the divorce, we agreed that he would be responsible for the tuition and dorm bill for Katie's college, and I would pay for the other miscellaneous living expenses. I've saved enough to pay for these expenses, but I know that if something were to happen to my savings, Will or his family would be able to foot the entire bill for Katie's living expenses without any changes to his lifestyle. Will and I decided to sit Katie down and show her the whole picture of what college costs and what we will pay for. Brian thought it would be a good idea to have a similar conversation with Nick, even though he's just a junior. Unfortunately, the financial situation for Nick is different. Since his mother is not in the picture, it's been on Brian to save for Nick's college. Brian was able to save, and I have also contributed a bit, and he has about enough saved for a full associate's degree or half a bachelor's degree at an in-state public college without living expenses. We didn't openly discuss the specifics of the different finances with each kid, but did broadly say that we had different opportunities due to situations outside of their control. Nick has since surmised that his situation is very different from Katie's, and his choices will be much more impacted by finances than hers. Nick came to Brian and I very upset over the weekend. He said that it wasn't fair that Katie got to go anywhere she wanted, and he specifically was upset that Katie would not have to pay for her own room and board. He then asked that if Katie gets into a school with scholarships, if he could get the difference in tuition for his college. Or he said that I should contribute the savings I had for Katie to his fund to try and make it more fair, since Will could make up the difference easily. I kindly told him that no, I wouldn't do that, and that I'm really sorry about this situation. Then I told him that unfortunately, sometimes them's the breaks in life, and that we will do our best to make sure that whatever college he decides to go to, that he can make the most out of the opportunity, even with loans. Nick was obviously upset at this, and Brian thinks my response to his asking made me a bit of a jerk, even though I shouldn't have to change any of the agreement. I feel like I'm going crazy, but am I the jerk? ETA. I had condensed this post for character limits, but wanted to add a bit about the actual conversation. This was the follow-up conversation to the longer one my husband had with him about how much money we were able to contribute to college, so he already knew the specifics of what we had saved for him. I'm trying to be as objective as possible. Our follow-up was a conversation that was over 10 minutes long. Most of it was saying that we were sorry about how this situation impacts him and that it's really difficult seeing people close to you get opportunities you can't have. I did not default to them's the breaks, but then yes, I did say those exact words. I must be older than I thought, after Nick got increasingly angry and frustrated. I didn't intend to be callous, but I love Nick and I will apologize for being unkind and make sure to repeat the things Brian told him about the fund in the first place. There are so many options for you, and we are excited to support you to make whatever future you want happen for you. I would say a soft "you're the jerk" for being so flippant about it. Your son is upset because he's staring down the hole of student debt. You could have empathized and sympathized with him and instead decided to take the heartless route. The world is cold enough. Kids don't need the same attitude from their parents. The tone of the post also feels like OP doesn't care about her stepson at all, even since she's been in his life since he was 10. She just told him to go get loans. Would be a pretty big slap in the face. I don't get that at all. OP has contributed to her stepson's college fund, though we don't know how much. It's still better than most people who come here. Then her stepson wants to take what OP has contributed to her daughter's fund? Kid needs to get out of the entitlement mode. Life ain't fair, and just because someone has the ability to pay for someone else doesn't mean that they have to. I also didn't read it this way. Blended families are hard and come with weird gray areas. One area that is black and white is whether all the grown-ups involved love the kids who are there. From OP's post, I felt she does love her stepson, but also the finances are just different, and placing more onus on Will, who is not a part of this family dynamic, is unfair. Did you literally say, "them's the breaks"? Because I can see how he's taking that as a jerk thing to say. While it's true that not everyone gets equal opportunities and starts out with the same assets in life, Saying "them's the breaks" is a dismissive, uncaring way to say it. The message isn't wrong, but the delivery was so bad it obscured the message. So you're the jerk. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her stepson? Please let us know. Of course the entitled kids on Reddit are gonna side with the entitled kid. Like it or not, them's is the breaks. Deal with it. Am I the jerk for not allowing my sisters to come spend Christmas with me and my family? I, 29 male, am my parents' only child together. My dad, 55 male, had an affair which resulted in a pregnancy and my mom left him over it. The woman had twin girls, Bella, who's 19, and Amy, who's also 19, and I deeply resented all three of them for many years. With time and therapy, I was able to let go of most of my anger, but I will never be close to Bella and Amy, and just opted to be polite whenever I saw them or their mom. It's a tragic twist of almost laughable karma, and it was revealed that the woman my dad left my mom for wasn't as true to him as she led him to believe, and that Bella and Amy weren't his. It got nasty and they divorced when Bella and Amy were 16. My dad agreed to still be a part of Bella and Amy's lives at the time, and so opted for 50-50 custody. However, after a health scare, Bella decided she wanted to find and reach out to her biological dad. And while my dad wasn't happy about it, Bella soothed his worries when she stated that it would only be for medical purposes, as she had no desire to have him in her life. My dad helped Bella find him and they had a meeting and never said anything about it again. Unfortunately, it was revealed that Bella lied and was still seeing her dad in secret, and Amy eventually joined her. My dad wasn't happy about it and there was an argument, but when Amy brought up how it was their right to see their dad, something in my dad snapped. He got quiet and told the girls that they were right, and when Amy and Bella left to spend their summer with their dad and his family, my dad put the house up for sale, moved all of Amy's and Bella's things to a storage unit, deleted his social media, and changed his number. My dad sent a letter to Bella and Amy to their mom's place explaining what he had done and that they had 30 days before he cut off all financial support, college funds, phones, etc., saying that since their biological dad is so important, that he can be their father fully. My dad hasn't spoken to the girls since, and his side of the family is on his side, thinking that Bella and Amy are ungrateful and just as disrespectful as their mom. Bella and Amy have reached out to me to help them see and talk to my dad again, but I don't want to get involved, nor do I even know where to find him. We just call, text, or FaceTime each other. My father finally reached out asking if he could come spend Christmas with me, my wife, our daughter, and my wife's parents, and I agreed. I'm not sure how, but Bella and Amy found out and told me that they were going to come over too. Not ask, but told. I said no. I know that eventually my dad is going to have a talk with Bella and Amy, but I don't want that drama at my house during my daughter's first Christmas. I told my dad about Bella and Amy, and he said that he had told them everything he needed to in his letter, and he has no desire to talk to them. I told Bella and Amy that they are not welcome, and they, along with their family and friends, are calling me the jerk. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. This is not your circus. These are not your monkeys. You have no biological or familial relationship with Amy or Bella, and you're not obligated to provide the forum for them to have whatever conversation they believe they need to have with your father. Not the jerk. Those aren't your sisters. You are not obligated to let them in your life. Ignore them. Their mother was the first jerk for lying, and then they became jerks for sneaking and lying to your dad. That's his issue to deal with, and if he said he's done, then he's done. Don't get involved, and don't let them in your house. Their mother is the second jerk. None of this would have happened if OP's father didn't choose to have an affair. He's the first jerk. Yeah, the dad is a major jerk. 1, he had an affair, left his first wife. 2, decided to stay in the twins' lives, but gatekeep whether they can have a relationship with their biological dad. 3, disappeared into the night, leaving the girls without the father figure they had their whole lives because they displeased him and cut them off financially with no warning. It's like he's allergic to responsibility. Anyway, OP, not the jerk, but I would really rethink having a relationship with your dad. He seems to make nothing but messes for the people around him. Not the jerk, but let me tell you something. I have a feeling they're going to show up anyway. Is there any way you can change the venue? Not related to judgment. I had to laugh at your dad's karmic justice, But I also will say he's being a jerk to them about it. I get that he's hurt, but they have a right to find their biological dad, and they shouldn't be punished for it. What he did was stone cold. Management says I can't wear scrubs in healthcare. So about 10 years ago, I, 35, male, became a CNA, certified nurse's aide, and worked at an assisted living facility. In many of these types of buildings, corporate does not want the nursing home, so they make their nurses and CNAs wear business casual clothes. The place I was at required us to wear a collared shirt and khakis or black pants. Now, I'm a 6'3" male, on the skinnier side, that's been told my legs are so long I look like I'm walking on stilts. That being said, finding khakis isn't easy, and I usually need to custom order them, which can be pricey. Also, I'd like to note that this building had hard carpet everywhere, and I would end up kneeling down to help tie shoes or do other things while helping out my residents, and ended up blowing out the knees on my khakis often. On the malicious compliance. One day, management says that we were allowed to wear appropriate yoga pants that were either black or khaki, with no reason given. This does nothing to help me and my holy khaki situation, as I was making $12 an hour. Custom-ordered pants were very expensive to me. So I decided I was gonna buy black and khaki scrub pants because they're cheaper and more durable. I go on wearing them for about a week without issue when management calls me in and states that the policy is no scrub pants, and I would be written up if I do it again. I try to explain the financial situation, that each pair of khakis were costing me most of a day's wage and the knees would wear out quickly. They respond with, "Tough crap, no scrubs." I then grab the flyer they posted about yoga pants and start to make the case that if yoga pants are allowed, which are much cheaper, I should be able to wear scrubs. Again, they say, "No, it's not the same." At this point, I look down and see the wording on the flyer is, "As a thank you for your hard work, management has decided to allow all nursing staff to wear appropriate yoga pants if they would like. No gender noted, just that they must be black or khaki and not low-cut." Cue the malicious compliance. I go home and tell my girlfriend at the time about this and ask her for a pair of her black yoga pants. Just an FYI, she was barely 5'3", and when I tried them on, they barely went past my knees. The next day, I walked into work proudly sporting the high-water yoga pants with my hairy calves, stilt-like legs, and on the back they had the word "juicy." I made sure to tuck in my shirt so everyone could revel in my glorious bony self. 1 hour into my shift, when management gets there, I instantly get called into the office with my boss and HR. "OP, what are you doing? You are not wearing the correct uniform, and we will need to send you home now." I grab the flyer and point out that nowhere did they ever say that this was only for women, and they also don't say anything about the length on it. I then say that they are at the appropriate height, put my pants on my hips, do a 180 to show them off, and smile at them looking over my shoulder. Boss: "That's not the point, OP. You know what we meant." HR: "Actually, that is the point. He's right. You did say nursing staff could wear these, and they fit the criteria you put in place." Boss has a wicked scowl on her face, knowing she got beat, but then pauses and laughs. "Okay, fine. You can wear scrubs. Just no more yoga pants. I've already heard the residents talking about your pants more than I'd like. Go home and change, though." For a long time, I got teased by a bunch of the 85-year-old women about when I was gonna be showing off my juicy self again, but at least I got to wear scrubs. Am I the jerk for putting my son's comfort over my girlfriend? I, 34 male, have a 16-year-old son. My son is paralyzed from the waist down and has been since he was 8. A year ago, I got with my girlfriend who's 34. I live in an apartment right now, but it's not the most accessible. For example, the sink in the kitchen and bathroom have cabinets underneath, so he can't really use them without being in an awkward position. Also, the stove is too high for him to use it safely. He can't reach most of the dishes if they were in the higher cabinets. The shower is also really small, and his shower bench barely fits. I've tried to rearrange this to make them easier for him, but it's still hard. 2 days ago, I started getting a house built for us. For most of his childhood, I've struggled financially, but I was finally able to afford to build a house accessible to him. I showed my girlfriend a plan of the house when we first started dating, and she said it looked fine. We went to go see the progress a few days ago, since it's almost done, and we're almost ready to move in. When we got there, she mentioned how the stove and sink were too low. My son can't do much in the kitchen because of his paralysis, but he loves to help. Having the stove accessible will help him have more independence and he can start learning himself, which he's really happy about. Our stove and sink has a little space under it so he can slide his wheelchair in to cook and is low enough so it's like a table if that makes sense. The oven and microwave are also low enough for him. My girlfriend says it'll be uncomfortable for her to cook at. I told her that she can pull up a chair and sit if that's better, but she refuses. She says she doesn't want to live with me if she's going to be uncomfortable forever. She also says that my son will move out in a few years, so we don't even need to spend all this money on a house. I told her that we could renovate some things after he moves out, but she doesn't want to wait that long. I said if it was a problem, she could figure something else out to make her comfortable or leave. Some people are telling me I was too harsh, but I'm tired of people complaining about accessibility to disabled people because it inconveniences them a little. But I want to know if y'all think I was actually wrong and should I have handled this differently. Run. Run as fast as you can from this woman and never look back. And for the love of God, don't make a baby with her. Not the jerk. Not the jerk. Your son's ability to use features in his own home is more important than your girlfriend's comfort. Good job on being a great dad on this one. Not the jerk, dude. Your girlfriend needs a reality check. Where does she get the gall to say that your son's accessibility is less important than her inconvenience? Also, what world does she live in where kids will pack up and leave the moment they turn 18? Where exactly are they gonna go with housing and cost of living in general skyrocketing? You're the jerk. As a woman who's been in a similar situation with my ex-fiance, you are totally in the wrong. She's going to be marrying you and spending her life with you at that house. He is your son who will be leaving the nest soon. Men need to put priority on the woman they expect to spend the rest of their lives with. Like, how do you have the gall to expect her to stay with you when you make it obvious she's not a priority? This is what my ex did to me, but it was in regard to his daughter being blind. He focused on it all of the time and treated her like a baby. She was 14 at the time. As a result, I found a real man who makes me a priority, and my loser ex is still single. I saw him at a bar recently, so I made sure to have lots of makeout sessions with my new man just to show ex what he's missing out on. I'm pretty sure it worked because he eventually got up and just walked off. Jealous much? You chose your sad life by putting your brat over me. Now deal with it. Hopefully he's getting the therapy he always needed. I swear, the guy was a narcissistic psycho who thought the world revolved around him and his daughter. Karen loses it over the Baby Yoda socks I bought her for Christmas. For Secret Santa, I got Sarah, who put down a bunch of books that she wanted, as well as other things like socks, tea, and candy. I was a little disappointed, to be honest, because I really like to shop for people and give really cool gifts, and these were just a bunch of blah things. When I looked up all the books to get her, I found out that they were all romance novels. I felt kinda cringe buying her romance novels, so I looked at the common themes and found a really good fantasy novel to buy her instead, called Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. It has a romance in it too. I figure if she likes to read, then she'd be happy to broaden her horizons and branch out. I also got her some Baby Yoda socks to go along with it, because who doesn't like Baby Yoda? And some Bigelow tea that looked good. We did the exchange this morning, and she looked visibly confused when she opened hers. She changed her face to be surprised/happy, but this really bothered me. In the break room later, I heard her talking and complaining that she didn't get why someone got her these things. The other person said they were probably upset they got a woman instead of a man, which I thought was rude. I'm a woman too. I'm just not the pumpkin spice latte and Hallmark kind. Then after, I saw her give the socks to someone else, saying they could have them for their kid. I was honestly really bothered by this. I put thought and effort into a gift. Am I the jerk for getting her something to branch out of the humdrum romance genre and Baby Yoda socks? I thought everyone liked Baby Yoda. Yes, you're the jerk. But you will probably never understand why, so there's not much point in this. Still, I'm going to say it anyway. What the heck is your problem? Why do you feel it's your job to shame people for what they like? She literally put what she wanted on a sheet of paper, but you decided you knew better. Of course she was disappointed. The whole point of putting things you like down when doing these things is so people can receive something they actually want, instead of some dumb stuff that they don't even want. Congratulations on wasting your money and disappointing someone for no reason. Maybe next time stop being condescending and let people enjoy things, or don't participate. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her coworker? Please let us know. If I hear the words Baby Yoda one more time. Am I the jerk for not believing my daughter's knee was hurting? I have a 15-year-old daughter and my husband is currently out of town. I have a lot of projects that need to be done in my yard and I really needed her help. On Friday, she told me her knee was hurting after her run and she was limping. I told her, "It's funny how your body always seems to malfunction when I need your help. You can just stay in bed all day if you want." Because it's true. She has a history of feigning ailments in order to get out of doing things she doesn't want to do. She hasn't done it much since she was around 9, but I still have trouble trusting her when she says something is wrong. She said she would help me, and I told her we could take her to an emergency room if her knee still hurt by the time the yard work was done. We worked the whole weekend, and she complained a lot, but I was almost certain that she would magically be better by the end of the weekend. This morning though, she said her knee was hurting badly and she could barely walk, so I took her to the emergency room. It turns out she sprained her knee. I had told her to tell them that it only started hurting today, but she said it started hurting Friday, and I was questioned. Fortunately, nothing bad happened, but they said that due to how much she's had to use her knee after it was injured, it will take longer to recover. I decided to keep her home from school today because I don't necessarily want her telling people that I had her doing yard work when she told me her knee hurt. They wouldn't be getting the full story or context, and she has a tendency to exaggerate when I do something wrong. I do feel slightly guilty, but I told her that this wouldn't have gotten to the point it did had she not had this history of lying. She is upset with me. She told me that she was in terrible pain all weekend and that she couldn't believe I didn't trust her. She doesn't seem very interested in talking to me, but I feel like this is partially her fault for creating a situation in which I couldn't trust her. Am I the jerk for not wanting to apologize? You're the jerk 1,000,000%. The full story she'd be telling is that you made a crappy assumption about her, forced her to go an entire weekend without necessary medical care, and that you tried to get her to lie to cover up your negligence. All because when she was a literal kid 6 years ago, she had issues with lying. Yeah, I can see why you don't want that getting out. ETA. Also, you suck for pretending to be so morally outraged at your daughter lying to you in years past, which is, actually pretty developmentally normal for kids to do. But then asking her to lie for you to the doctors. Gross. Clearly you're fine with it when it benefits. Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video. Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.